Welcome to my front room in Perthshire in Scotland. So I thought I would, having posted two videos about Detectival, which was held in Cambridgeshire at the beginning of September, I would just talk about three of the coins that I found, and I'll also add in some other footage of coins that the other guys, Marty and Pete, also were lucky enough to find. I realised that I haven't put up the identification for these three coins that was given to me by the finds liaison at Detectival, and obviously I was incredibly lucky to find a gold quarter noble, my second gold hammered coin, and incidentally the second one that I've had in the last 12 months. So I'll begin with this one right here. Now this is a silver hammered coin, and this has been identified as Henry VI. It dates to sometime between 1422 and 1427. Now it's pretty worn on this side. There's not a lot of legend left, but you can just make out part of the words that make up Henrik or Henricus, which is Henry VI. You can see his face in the centre there with his crown, and he's looking straight ahead. Now on the reverse side, it's been identified as a long cross half groat, and in the very centre you can see the words villa or via, and then it says Calais, which is in France obviously. But for quite some time England controlled large parts of France, and this dates to between, as I mentioned, 1422 and 1427. Beautiful coin, and the first of its type that I've ever found. So I also got this really chunky coin. Now, believe it or not, the finds liaison were not interested because it's not over 500 years old. But you can just make out the figure of a man on a horse, and he's got a sword that he's holding aloft. And then you can just make out the letters Carolus de Gracia, France, no, in fact it's Mag Brit France et Hibernia Rex. So Charles the First, by the grace of God, King of Great Britain, France and Ireland. And it is Charles the First there who is on his horse. On the reverse, it's a bit worn, but it says something along the lines of Christos auspices regno, which is I rule under the auspices of Christ. And you can just make out a bit of a worn shield on the back, which has got the three lions of England, the harp of Ireland, the rampant lion of Scotland, and the fleur-de-lis of France. Now, they told me that they thought it was probably a sixpence, but they weren't really that interested. But I'm led to believe it's actually a half crown. Very, very chunky coin. You can see how thick it is. Probably the fattest hammered coin that I've ever found. And then lastly, we have got this beautiful gold coin. Now you can make out Edward de Gracia Rex Ang, which is Edward the Third, by the grace of God, King of England. And you can see a shield in the centre, which has got bottom left and top right the three lions of England, and top left and bottom right the fleur-de-lis of France. And on the other side is a beautifully decorated gold coin. Now I am led to believe by the finds liaison that this is an Edward III Treaty Series quarter gold noble, and it dates to sometime between 1363 and 1369. Now, I don't have the other coins that Martyn and Pete found, but what I'll do is I will post a little video of the finding of these 3 coins plus their 2. I'll edit them all together so you can see how they were discovered. And then I've also pulled together a collage of lots of different finds from the weekend of Detectival that were found by other people. Now, wherever possible, I've tried to prevent any doubling of pictures, any replication, because I don't want to make out that more things were found than actually were, but I think I've managed to catch quite a lot of individual coins and relics, and I'll do my best to give a little explanation wherever I can. So, without further ado, here we go. And I should also mention that some of the format of the photographs is a little bit out of shape because they were all taken on different cameras, different phones with different lenses, so they don't all fit the screen perfectly, but at least you get a good view of what was found. So, let's have a look. Couple of shotgun caps and bits and bobs so far. Here we've got a pretty mind-blowing, ear-blowing is the word I was looking for. 96, 97. We're out the hole, no pinpointer required, because I could see that little glint, and we might have a milled silver coin. Milled silver coin, maybe. Soil is really claggy. Lots of... Oh, that is hammered. That's a hammered coin. That is hammered. You beauty. Let me give Pete a shout. Okay, Pete's had a look. He thinks it's hammered. He thinks he can see lions on it. He's got better eyesight than me. He's providing the scooshin. As you can see, the soil is really, really clay. I'll just make a puddle in my hand. Oh, you smell that suntan lotion, Pete? I think we're going to need a lot of water. Definitely something there, isn't there?
Yep, definitely.
Okay, what we thought was a head is a horse and a man on top of it. Right, spray away, Pete. It just doesn't want to come off. That is a man on a horse. Ugh, cannot get it off. What kind of mud have you got here in England? There we go. Doing my best not to scratch it before anyone says you're scratching it.
That isn't much down in the mud, it's just mud.
Mud. Look at that.
That's looking good.
Look at that. There is a fella riding a horse. When's that from, Pete?
No idea.
Me neither. Right, I'm going to dry it out. Oh, and there's the back. What way's up? Is it even European?
I can say that might not even be English.
Right, okay, we've no idea about this one, but look how thick it is. That is a chunky, chunky coin. That is a chunky coin. That's about a half an ounce of silver right there, I would say. Beautiful. Got the boys over. My hammered coin was just where that spade is. Dug another signal right next to it. Turned out to be a screw. Pete's right there. And Marty has just dug a hole right there. And it looks like he has got a hammered silver coin, potentially. Marty's now using my spray bottle to wash himself because he's covered in mud. And that is a nice coin. You can see the shield on the back. You've got 3 lions of England, top right and bottom left. And you've got the 3 fleur de lis of France, top left and bottom right. And it's got a hole through it, so it's probably been worn on a string at some point. I don't know what the letters are. They're pretty well worn, but I probably wouldn't know what they would say anyway, because this is an English coin, not a Scottish coin, because Henry VIII was not the King of Scotland, he was the King of England and claimant to the throne of France. And you can see a bust in the centre of Henry VIII. And I forgot to mention, if this is Henry VIII, then I'm sure he ruled sometime around the 1530s, 1540s, or thereabouts. And we think that the other coin that I got, I think might be Charles I. I'm sure I can see the words, or part of the word, Carolus, which is Charles. So that would put it 1625 to 1649, so it's the best part of 100 years later. Okay, we're still searching this spot. We've dug quite a lot of holes. You'll see Pete there working towards me. Pete's got the thumb up. Pete's got a hammered coin.
Yeah.
I think Pete's got a hammered coin. Okay, I think we've got 3 hammered coins now. Let's go and see. Pete's just giving me the thumbs up, but I just got that. And I'm whispering because people are steadily working their way towards us and working their way around us. Don't want to give the game away, but I just get this fragment. It looks like maybe it's part of a crotal bell, possibly. Looks like it's been a sort of sphere or circular shape. But either way, that is a nice find. I'm happy with that. Well, if it's a crotal bell that is, but I'm even happier that Pete looks like he has found himself a hammered coin, so let's go and have a look. What you got?
Bag break.
Oh, it's a whopper. Oh, Pete.
Oh yeah. Keep the explicities away.
Right, Pete has got himself an absolute stoater. Okay, as quietly as I can, it looks like we have got Elizabeth I. Elizabeth de Gracia Ang Fr et Hybe Regina. So Elizabeth I. By the grace of God, Queen, oh no, by the grace of God, England, France and Ireland, Queen Regina. And that is, I think, a shilling, which is 12 pence. And you can just make out her bust looking to the left hand side. That's about as good a shilling as you're probably liable to get. The bust is pretty good, because they're normally pretty worn, like the one I got the other week. But on the reverse, you've got the shield with the fleur de lis of France, bottom left, top right, top right, bottom, no, top left, bottom right, and you've got the 3 lions of England, bottom left, top right, and then Posvi Deus something, which is something along the lines of the Queen governs for God or something like that. I can't remember. I'm too excited. That's brilliant. 3 of us all getting a hammered coin within half an hour of one another, so that is tremendous. Okay, another digger somewhere there. Pretty solid 74. Let's see what we get. Definitely not a bullet, I hope. And that, ladies and gents, that looks pretty much like gold.
It's a gold hammered.
And that is
Definitely
100%
a gold.
a gold coin. I think it might even be another quarter
Quarter
noble, which I got last year. But this one's look, this one even possibly looks better. Come on, mud, get off. I'm running out of water. Hang on. Not got enough power left in my finger to do it. There's the hole. Right there. Not particularly deep. 4 or 5 inches. This mud is a nightmare. But I think we've got the gist of it. It is.
I think it is the same.
That's me practically out of water. I've got a wee bit left, but right, I'm going to turn it off for a sec and we'll get back to you once we've cleaned it up. Well, I think I'm a bit more subdued than I was last time, but I've got to say, fantastic, well done XP Deus 2. I've also got to say thank you to Regtons, who provided me with this metal detector to put through its paces. And look at that. I think that this is a gold quarter noble, and it's in even better condition than the one I got last year. Lightning strikes twice. We've got the letters round the edge, Edward de Gracia something. My eyesight isn't good enough to read it. Edward de Gracia Rex. That's ANG at the top. ANG for England. Edward de Gracia, King of England. Look at it. It is beautiful. It's a bit wobbly, but on the whole, it's pretty good. And the back has got all the letters as well. Gloriat, Extar, something in Latin, which I can't read, and a cross. And look at the detail on it. That is stunning. Look at it glistening in the sun, and with 28 minutes to go, saving the best till last. That is unbelievable. And wait until Marty sees this. That is unbelievable. After the day that I've had, I could cry. Fantastic. Probably the find of Detectival was this beautiful Celtic gold stater, which probably dates to the 1st century BC. And this is another quarter gold noble that was discovered, but it's Edward the First, and it dates to 1272 to 1305, give or take. And then another Celtic gold stater, which is from the 1st century BC, give or take. And this is yet another Celtic gold stater, also from a similar period. This is the reverse of the same coin. You can see it's very worn, but it is still a thing of beauty. And yet another gold coin. This, I think, is a quarter gold guinea. Dates to 1797. And as you can see on this side, George III, de Gracia, George III by the grace of God, and he ruled from 1760 to 1820. This is I think it's a sixpence of Queen Elizabeth I, So she ruled until 1603. And I think this is a silver strap end, a decorated strap end, but I'm not sure if it's medieval or Saxon. Then we've got a Roman coin, which I believe is the Emperor Vespasian. So he was 69 to 79 AD and constructed the Colosseum. And then this is one of many short cross hammered coins. So that's going to put it sometime around 1200 to 1250. This is a 4th century Roman silver coin. I think it's called a silica or a sequia. Can't remember how you pronounce it. And this is one of many hammered coins of Edward. I think this is Edward the First. So that's going to put it sometime sort of 1270 to 1305. This is a silver ring. I'm not sure about the age of this. It could be medieval, it could be post-medieval, but it's a beautiful ring either way. And another bronze Roman coin. I think this one's sort of 1st century BC into the 1st century AD. And then a really beautiful short cross penny. So again, probably 1200 to 1250. Either Richard, Henry or John, I think. And then this is yet another silver hammered penny. In the centre there's a rose or a flower shape, which I think tells you it's from the city of York in England. And then this is a Henry penny, a beautiful bust, and you can see his face in the centre looking right at us. This is another Edward, I think Edward the Third, and I think it's a groat, but it's another beautiful coin. And this is yet another Henricus, another Henry the Third, I think. And yet another beautiful coin. This one was yet another Henry, but it was gold gilded, so it was a contemporary forgery of a gold coin. And this is the reverse of the same coin, so it's another short cross. And unfortunately, whether that's a piercing or damage, but it's got a hole in it. But either way, beautiful coin. This, I think, is a European, a continental hammered silver coin. Not sure what country it's from. Might be the Low Countries, could even be France. And this is the reverse of the same coin. And you can see a lot of similarities between the European coins and the English coins. This is a beautiful Roman silver denarii of the Emperor Domitian. He ruled from about 81, 82 AD until he was assassinated in 96 or 98 AD. This is a denarius, so at the time a Roman soldier would have been paid about 300 of these a year as their salary. This is a beautiful Elizabeth I, really fantastic portrait. I'm not sure what it is, I think it's a threepence. And this is the reverse of the same coin. You can just make out Civitas, London, so the city of London, that's where the coin was minted. And this is another Edward silver penny. This is probably Edward the First again, but it could be Edward the First, second or third. And on the reverse, Civitas Cantor, so Canterbury, this is where this coin was minted. And this is a really beautiful item. This is a silver brooch. I think it's Saxon, so it's probably going to be from the 7th or 8th century, something like that. And this is another hammered coin. I think it's another continental example, but the two piercings, the two holes, I think the indication was that it's been reused as a decorative brooch or button, and that's the reason there's two holes in it. But either way, another beautiful coin. Then this is a very worn hammered coin, possibly a Henry or maybe an Edward, but probably from the 13 or 1400s. And then yet another well-worn hammered coin on the reverse. Again, it looks like it could be mint mark of York. Now, I can't remember what this was. I think it might be some sort of horse fitting, a terret ring or something like that that's used for a chariot or for a horse. And this is a silver cufflink, and probably going to date to the Georgian period, sometime 1700s into 1820. And then a very big cartwheel penny. These were only made for just a couple of years, but they all carry the same date of 1797. They were all made during the reign of this man, George III. He ruled from 1760 to 1820. And then this item is a stamp, a lead seal, a matrix. This would be used to stamp wax impressions on letters and documents, probably from the 13, 14 or 1500s. And then we've got a St. Christopher. It's quite crudely made, so again it's probably going to be at least 300 or 400 years old, I would think. This is another photograph of that same Celtic gold coin, a gold stater that we saw at the beginning. I thought it was worth putting it in twice because it's a beautiful photo of a wonderful coin from the 1st century BC. And this is a crotal bell, so these would have been suspended from horse harnesses to let people know that horses were coming along. And then again the Edward I quarter gold noble, which incidentally was apparently discovered on a field that was off limits until the Sunday, but someone went on it on the Saturday and found it. And this is another Celtic unit from probably the 1st century BC, but this is a silver stater and you can just make out a horse. And then I believe this is a groat, and it's a Commonwealth issue, so this is from the time of Oliver Cromwell, around 1649 to 1660. And then a very beautiful medieval or post-medieval ring, so it's probably going to be 1415, 1600s, and this is it from another angle with this beautiful purple stone set into the top. Really beautiful find. This is another hammered silver penny, and again it looks like it's got the flower right in the centre of the cross, which would tell you that it's a York mint coin. Just like this one here. This is another penny or another halfpenny. Probably again from Edward or Henry, probably the 13, 14 into the beginning of the 1500s. Just like this coin here. It's also very well worn. But again, it's another hammered silver coin, so it's going to be at least 500 years old. Likewise, this one looks like another Edward, probably Edward III, so that'll put it sometime, probably around about the 1350s, 1370s. And I think this is Victorian. It's definitely silver, and it may well have had some stones set in it, maybe even costume jewellery. And then another Roman silver coin, another of these silicas, or whatever it is you pronounce it, but probably from the 4th century. And this is one of the older items that I saw. This is part of a very small Bronze Age axe head. Date-wise, it's probably going to be 4,000 years old, give or take. You wouldn't chop many big trees down with that, but still, it's beautiful. Here's a couple of cut halves, both of the short cross variety, so again from around the early part to the middle of the 1200s. And I'm not sure if this is either the opposite side or if these are two other cut half coins, but either way, again, they both look to be short cross. This is another hammered silver coin. You can just make out Civitas Cantor, so it's another one from Canterbury, probably one of the Edwards, Edward I to Edward III. This is another Henry, Henricus, Henry III, I believe. So I think he ruled sometime in the 1400s. And this is the reverse of the same coin, but in really good condition. And this is another lead seal, so another seal that would be used for making your mark on documents or for sealing manuscripts or scrolls with a lead wax impression, which would carry your family name. And this is an annular brooch. So again, it's from the medieval period, probably 1400s, could be slightly earlier. And also this is also from the medieval period. It is a little plaque that would hang from your horse. It's a horse decoration, and it would have had the coat of arms of the knight or the family, and it would be suspended from the harness of a horse. I couldn't tell if this was the same coin that I showed you earlier that has now been cleaned, or if it was a different coin, but either way I put it in. It's another Edward, I think Edward III, so probably 1360s, 1370s, and Civitas, London, so minted in the city of London. And then another decorative crotal bell. Quite a number of these came up. I certainly saw 3 or 4, maybe even 5 different people that had found one. And then another hammered short cross of Henry. I think it's Henry III again. So he seemed to be quite a popular man on the fields of Cambridgeshire. And this is the reverse. But again, this could be photograph uncleaned and maybe of a coin that I've already shown you. And then this is a coin of Edward I, but you'll see he's in a triangular shape, which tells you this is an Irish issue. This dates to probably 1270 to 1300, and you can see Civitas, Dublin. So this coin is minted in Dublin in Ireland. And yet another lead seal, a matrix or a wax seal. So this is made of lead. You can see the white coloration, and it would have had the name and coat of arms of a particular person or family, and again used to seal documents with an impression. Another couple of Roman silver coins. Again, it's top left is definitely, I'm going to say Silica, but I know I'm pronouncing it wrong. And this one has got a VOT X MVLT, which would give you the specific commemorative date. Then this lucky person managed to find not 1 but 3 hammered silver coins, which are probably Edward's or Henry's. Now this is mine. This is what I believe is Charles I half crown, although they did tell me in the FLO, the Fines Liaison tent, that it is a sixpence, but I am not convinced because I think it's far too thick to be a sixpence. But you can see Charles I riding on his horse with his sword, and on the reverse, quite well worn, a little bit damaged around the edges, and you can see it's been quite heavily clipped as well. Poor old Charles I lost his head in 1649 after the English Civil War. And I found this little buckle very close to that big coin, and the Fines Liaison reckoned it's from the same period, so sometime in the late 15 or early 1600s. Pete got this coin, which is really beautiful. The photograph actually doesn't do it justice, but this is Elizabeth I, and she ruled from the sort of middle part of the 1500s until 1603, and it is a shilling or 12 pence. You can see the fleur-de-lis of France and the 3 lions of England on the back, and she famously had her own cousin, Mary Queen of Scots, imprisoned and eventually executed. This is Marty's coin, which is another first. I've never seen one of these before, but it is Henry VIII. And you'll see, unfortunately, someone's put a hole right through his eye, but you can make out his portrait, and this is the reverse of the same coin. Now we think it's a groat or half a groat. I'm pretty sure this is a reasonably rare coin, but I've never found one before, so I'm not entirely sure. Beautiful either way. And then finally, a Roman dolphin brooch. Now, I know there were a number of these that came off, and this one probably dates to the 1st or 2nd century. So there you go. There are some of the finds from Detectival 2022.